Hey, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Taylor. I'm married to my best friend. We've been married for about a year, and we have a 6-month-old, almost 7-month-old son named Ritter. And I just wanted to tell you about his birth story. And he was born in March 2016, so this past March. And I was diagnosed with postpartum preeclampsia, and I just want to tell you the crazy story of how the doctors didn't know. So up until I had Ritter, my blood pressure was perfectly fine. It was normal. It was actually like really good, and so they had no reason to believe that I would get preeclampsia. But right after I had Ritter, I started to feel extremely sick. Like as soon as I got to the room where the recovery room, and I was puffy. I puffed up, and I didn't know why. I felt so sick, and I just thought, that is part of having a baby. After you have a baby, this is how you feel. In a couple of weeks, you'll feel normal again. But and I couldn't really stand on my own. Couldn't really walk that well on my own, and I didn't even want to hold my baby. I felt so exhausted and sick that I didn't want to hold him, and I just thought that was part of having a baby, that you just feel that way for a little while, then you'll feel better. I didn't even feel like nursing him, and that's what I really wanted to do. And during that night, the first night I stayed at the hospital, they checked my blood pressure almost every hour because it was a little up, but they didn't really see any problem with it. And so the next day or the day after that, they sent me home. And even leaving the hospital, I was still just nauseous. I was so sick feeling and so weak. And that night, the night that I went home, I had this horrible tightening in my chest and my back, and I couldn't breathe without it aching and just hurting so much that I couldn't take it. And and my mom had given us a blood pressure cuff because she was worried that since my blood pressure was up, she was really worried about me. And weird things happen to me all the time, so she was just a little concerned. So since we had that, I took my blood pressure, and it was 170 over 120. And I called my mom, and she's like, "You need to call the ER right now. I'm freaking out." And I'm not the one that likes to go to the hospital or doctor unless something's like really, really wrong. But I didn't really realize that that was something that's not good. Like, your blood pressure's up too high. I didn't really know the numbers of what's too low, what's too high, what's just right. So we called the hospital, and they said you need to go to the ER. So we went, and when we saw the doctor, he got in touch with my doctor, and can't even think of the word. They readmitted me to the hospital, and so I went back to labor and delivery, and they hooked me up to magnesium, which when it kicked in, and I was on it for about 2 days. When it kicked in, I felt good. But during the night, I would cry because I was just in so much pain, and I was so weak that the needle, when it was in my arm and the magnesium would go in, for about 10 minutes, it would just burn and burn and burn, and I just couldn't help but cry. And so I was supposed to stay in the hospital for about 3 days, but my doctor went out of town, so they had a on-call doctor come in to see me in the labor and delivery, and they said, "How are you feeling?" Of course I felt good because I had been on the magnesium. And she said, "Okay, well, we're just gonna get you home, sent home a day early, so you can just go home, be with your baby, and we'll give you some anxiety medicine." So I just thought, okay, they know what they're talking about. Well, not that night, but the day after, my blood pressure shot back up again. So we went back to the ER, and by this time, I'm just fed up with the doctors because nothing's going right, and this is supposed to be happy time. I just had my baby, I'm supposed to be home with him, and my husband he doesn't cry and like at all unless it's something really serious, and he cried going to the ER for the third time. He was just broken down, and it made me cry because he was just like, "I don't want to lose you." And so went to the ER again, and the lady at the front desk knew who I was. So we got called back, and it was a different ER doctor, and he was really surprised that my doctor or any other doctor didn't put me on blood pressure medicine when I had a blood pressure issue. And so he got me on some blood pressure pills, and it took about a week to kick in, but about like 2 months later, after taking the medicine every day, I got better and I don't have any more blood pressure issues, and I completely understand Ritter now. For the first little while since we had been in the hospital and I didn't get to nurse very much, my milk went down, so I could only make about 4 ounces at a time, and so I eventually just had to switch to formula. But he is healthy and he is such a happy baby. I'm very, very blessed, and I'm just happy to be here today. But that is my postpartum preeclampsia story.